out here. There's so much on the line, not just the cash, but as we said, the bragging rights of Europe on the line. And what an interesting series we have here. It's Quadrant versus JLINGZ. A few weeks back, you would think Quadrant was the absolute favorite for this tournament, but JLINGZ, they've had quite a weekend.
They certainly have, and they have raised their game to levels that we haven't seen from them so far this season. My question for JLINGZ, though, is, was yesterday you playing at the best you've played and Quadrant being off the boil? Is that going to be enough today if Quadrant raised their game? Because as we know, in Halo events, you win nothing on a Friday. You win nothing on a Saturday, Andy. But when it gets to a Sunday, that's where you earn your money.
That's right. It's all done here, and it's all done now. This is your first series of the day, and it's a good one. Quadrant versus JLINGZ. And as you heard on the desk, it's live fire Strongholds to kick things off. We're jumping right into game number 1.
And we are going to learn so much about this series, about both teams from this first game type, Andy. Like Wes said on the desk, already played this one against each other. It was a dominant victory for JLINGZ Esports on a game type that we almost expected Quadrant to be the favorite on.
2 dead for both sides off the opening. Make that 3 dead for Quadrant. And you have to also mention one thing we haven't talked about yet. Off of the continuation restart, JLINGZ beat Quadrant not just in this game type, but they beat them with a 36-point deficit as well. That's a huge victory on the end in the scoreboard. Let's see if they can do it again.
Well, it looks like at the start of this game, they're going to be able to get the control and the scoring in their favor. You can see B and C is under wraps for JLINGZ Esports, and Morguhhh also set up top tower defending C with that sniper rifle. Now, he's got a vital job to do here, just cutting numerous lanes, which is going to allow the rest of JLINGZ to work B.
Yeah, big question, too. How does he rotate? Which angles does he take? He has limited angles at house. If he starts to rotate towards nest, or maybe even comes out to dummies, that'll, of course, open up new angles for him as well. But right now, he's sitting pretty because they already have 30 points on the board.
Pressure is coming in, though, onto C, and Morguhh's going to have to hit a shot here, and Fragxr will be taken down. A little bullet to the chest is going to certainly take his breath away for a few moments here. And look at this score. B and C still being held, and somehow or other, he gets the call out. The Shad is hiding behind the box. Great teamwork already coming in from JLINGZ.
Ping, ping, ping from Morguhhh. Like you said, he got the comms. He's not done yet. Picks up another one. That grenade will come in the end, but it doesn't matter because there's 3 dead for the side of Quadrant. And they're thinking about the trip cap right now. Might come in on A.
Yeah, that A is being converted, and now you can see the respawns coming in. Septiq already pushed up here, Andy. Already putting pressure on to TchiK. He has the repulsor as well, and if he turns 2 here, then JLINGZ Esports will be able to keep control for quite some time. A 2v2 on the map. C will be converted, but the 2v2 becomes a 2 versus 0 as Quadrant all fall.
Yeah, let's see what TchiK is up to right now. Here's the last player alive. That's really the only player that they have to worry about. It's a dummies push coming into C at the moment.
At the moment, Quadrant can't get anything going, to be honest with you. They have managed to, at least off the respawn, get control of A to slow the bleeding that was occurring. Maybe this camouflage in the hands of Fragxr, a player that quite rightly was highlighted as being a little bit disappointing in the previous series between the two, is going to be somewhat of a spark for them because they need to. Look at the score right now, 99-11. Finally, Quadrant with a semblance of control here with A and B under their spell.
They're going to be very happy to see the score ticking in their favor after what felt like a very long spell of points. Fragxr trying to stay alive with a heatwave camo. It's a very nice job there in the end from JLINGZ to sniff him out, take him down, and prioritize that kill. They will reach the 30-point mark here. Big focus on Septiq for this series. One thing you might have noticed in the pregame is Septiq was #1 in kills coming out of Friday on the KD leaderboard. Guess what? He's nowhere to be seen in that top 5 anymore. Let's see what kind of day the man on your screen has.
Fragxr's going to put him on his back for now, and that means the sniper rifle will be down. However, you did see there was another JLINGZ player within the vicinity who might be able to pick that one up. Fragxr going to get the beat down and the better of Morguhhh as the push now comes in on C. But the flip is already happening over A here for JLINGZ. New sniper rifle pop in, and Fragxr has the chance to maybe try and shut down this move onto A coming in from JLINGZ. But one spike grenade is going to change his decisions as he now has both weapons in his hands, the sniper rifle and that heatwave as well.
This is round 2 for Fragxr and the heatwave. We'll see what he can do this time. Picks up 1. He will now move to B. But take a look at this. This is now 50 unanswered points by Quadrant there. JLINGZ failing to get past that 100-point mark.
Triple cap for Quadrant. C is where the spawns are coming in for JLINGZ. You can see that Fragxr is trying to put pressure on, but also being aware that he's waiting for all of the numbers to be up. If he pushes in too early and gets a little bit hyper-aggressive, then you can see a couple of spawners maybe coming in behind him. Septiq picking up a double kill, and Fragxr not connecting with his sniper rifle means that JLINGZ kind of get away with things here. Septiq going to try and clean up this last player, which is going to be Shad inside of C. That will be not only C being converted due to the fact that all of Quadrant are stuck in the respawn screen, but look at the bottom of your screen. B also turned back over to JLINGZ.
And they will be scoring once again. Keep in mind, though, that was a lead change. That was 90 unanswered points coming in from Quadrant, so it's a very good spell for them, but a pretty surprising series of events when you have two players jumping up from bottom pillars on tower, and Fragxr with sniper at nest. He misses two pretty key shots there, and they do not convert there. Oh boy, Septiq also picks off a shot of his own. That's going to hit the body and will be cleaned up. That was a camo player. SLG goes down for the killing spree.
Okay, Septiq, this is how you use a sniper rifle. Take notes if you're watching, because the man is hitting the important shots and the pressure shots. As you said, the camo player, what a shot that was to take him out of commission, to remove him from the equation. And now Septiq once again just controlling this tower and picking up two as well. Septiq is the bodyguard. And at the moment, Quadrant can't get into the club that is C.
The bodyguard and the very well-paid garbage man in the back of the tower base as well. He'll clean up all of the scraps that come his way. Very nice work here from Septiq and the entire JLINGZ roster. They are back in control. Trip cap for just a moment. Looks like A will get swapped. It does, however, not before they're able to put on a 48-point lead.
I kind of like this from JLINGZ. You notice that they didn't have the numbers in position to really pressure the respawners coming in at A, so they kind of let them spawn together. Then they held the angles. They almost played a little bit of Team Slayer, right? Get map positioning, get map control, and then focus on where that secondary push is going to come in, because if you have control of two, usually you can do an acceptable amount of damage, and maybe even more from Septiq, who at the moment is making C his home, but Shad will be the last player from Quadrant that Septiq unfortunately couldn't take down. He gets the conversion onto C, but look at the flip now on A coming in from JLINGZ.
Great timing, great flip there from JLINGZ. They will continue scoring. It looks like Septiq actually got the memo there. Maybe a phone notification first thing in the morning. You are no longer in the top 5 KD leaderboard. What are you going to do about it? Guess what? He starts the day off 15-8 right now. Great start for him.
Septiq popping it off, but for now he's going to have to watch the rest of his teammates try and pressurize these players at A. SLG and Shad pick up kills. Quadrant starting to at least get a little bit of momentum with numbers now. 2 dead here for JLINGZ Esports. Septiq back at the tower, and SLG back with the camo.
Second camo in a row for SLG, and he's shut down immediately once again. That's back-to-back camos from Quadrant, but JLINGZ shuts it down.
And that's not the first time we've seen that, right? We've seen multiple camos going over to Quadrant, and we've also seen JLINGZ shut them down almost immediately, so the power-ups have not been effective. It has been great play from JLINGZ. You can't really fault the way that Quadrant have tried to move. They've just been spotted.
Especially on that B play when SLG just got absolutely eagle-eyed in the back of the base. But we're going to see Quadrant scoring once again here. Still a very, very close game despite a great stretch of points from JLINGZ.
Extremely close game at the moment. You can see in just a few seconds' time we'll have a tie game. 2 dead here for Quadrant though. JLINGZ trying to turn B back over, and they're going to do so. So getting so close to tying up that game, Quadrant, and then losing that stronghold. They've got to be careful now, because they've only got a couple of mistakes left.
Whether or not you hit these shots with the sniper rifle at the end of the game could determine which way this one goes. JLINGZ, though, they will cross the 195-point mark here. A being flipped, so Septiq might have to rotate back.
A being flipped, but look at the swarm that now comes in from JLINGZ. They've given away their position here. They gave away their play, Quadrant, and now Septiq has a chance to maybe pick up yet another kill. SLG will be there to get the cleanup, though. Morguhhh rotates back to A to keep that in their possession. Now the fight for B is going to kick off, and Qristola with a double kill is going to make sure that JLINGZ stay secure.
Shad was the last player alive. That means TchiK is also on the spawn right now. They're just trying to stay alive with these 2-man pushes. It's not going to work. Already now 210 to 170. C should flip based on how those spawn rotations were going. Now BC in control of JLINGZ. Looks like a scoreboard push here coming in.
Scoreboard push coming in, but Septiq is picking up trip skis. That's going to shut down the push. 4 dead for Quadrant. JLINGZ holding the line perfectly.
Wow, talk about a perfect game from Septiq so far. 20 and 10 in this game. Monstrous numbers. The next closest is 13. Completely outslaying this game. Now only 20 points away from closing this out.
Everyone else is playing Strongholds. Septiq's been playing tower defense for the majority of this game so far, but look at the moves coming in, and desperation moves now coming in from Quadrant. Fragxr with the camo once more. Qristola, the air's a little bit thin up there, and maybe the decision-making was based off of a lack of oxygen as he gets taken down as well, and that will allow Quadrant now to make the move onto B.
But that's the first time we've seen the camo start to really get any sort of control coming in for Quadrant. That's their 3rd camo in a row, but look, they haven't flipped it yet. It's still 243 now, 7 points to go for JLINGZ.
Reset comes in, all of JLINGZ flooding onto B. That nowhere. Quadrant are trying to flood Qristola with a double. Qristola and Quadios managed to pick up the final kills, and with that, JLINGZ Esports will repeat history in our game number 1 here of our elimination semi-finals. They're up by 1.
Wow, and you had to think, based on how they played that game type yesterday, that they were going to be just as strong, and my God, that's exactly what we saw. That is a game type you do not want to face them in because they look good time and time again. But let's talk about Septiq. I think 20-12 in the end. That's a great way to start your championship Sunday.
A perfect way to continue the form that we saw from him as well. It's one thing, like I say, to do it on a Friday, on a Saturday. It's when the money's on the line that you've got to perform like that. And Robbie Singleton, look at those stats coming in from him. 20 bomb for Septiq. And not only that, most assists on his team as well with 11.
That's an even better performance than yesterday. As we said, they had to play that game type down by 36 to start the day off of a continuation. They win that with flying colors. They have an even stronger scoreline in today's match, and it was really also the way that they did it. They were in control of that game the entire way. They were dictating the pace, and they were actually completely disregarding Camo there and neutralizing it as a team. Great work here from JLINGZ off the opening.
Yeah, I always feel like with the power-up, you kind of play it depending on what's popping up on the map, right? Sometimes we see an overshield, sometimes we see a camo. I feel like you can give the camo away to keep control of the other side of the map more often than not. Maybe if an overshield's in play, it's a little bit more vital for players to get, but there was multiple times when we saw the camo actually being controlled by Quadrant, and then either Septiq or Aquarius or anyone would just shut it down.
My God, look at that. That's another triple kill there that came in from Septiq. A few of these happening off screen, so shout out to our observers and replay team for catching even more Septiq highlights that we hadn't even seen. You saw that one though on screen, and it looked like he was, I mean, this play for this 1v2, absolutely beautiful. That's a not easy second battle to win. He does that as well. This is the Septiq show, and we're glad you're all enjoying here and joining us on Championship Sunday.
And look at what he's doing as well. He was just controlling tower for so much time. You know, this triple kill here, swapping out for the commando to pick up yet another multi-kill. And when you have someone just giving you that stable base, defending one of those strongholds on its own, it just allows everyone else to do what they want, to have so much freedom on the map. And that's exactly why we saw the scoreline that we did.
You just saw 3 triples in the highlight package alone and a few doubles that he had as well. It's an unbelievable game from him.
Pretty good, yeah.
And no wonder that they were able to completely dictate every single moment of that match. Now we will head to Aquarius Slayer for our game number 2. And Quadrant, my God, do they ever need to answer back?
They do. Now, the one thing that is on Quadrant's side with this map, maybe not the mode, is there's some bad memories here for JLINGZ Esports on Aquarius. A couple of flag games that they've lost in overtime, in the tiebreakers. But Slayer's a different proposition completely. Plays completely differently. You're not looking to control certain parts of the map. It's more of a swarm mentality, right? Getting those shots down, and that's something that Septiq's going to be able to allow them to do. If he can play that anchor role like he has just in that last game on Strongholds, they could be up by 2. I think we haven't even mentioned, Andy, the fact that someone has to go home, but you double your money with every win pretty much today.
That's right. There's a lot here on the line, not just at the end of the day with the big prize pool, but every single match, as you say, on set. Here we are into game number 2. It's 1-0 in favor of JLINGZ.
Free camo for Septiq as well. Just storms top middle. Only takes just a slither of damage on his way to picking that one up, but look at the kill feed. A couple of kills going down for Quadrant now. Septiq's going to be chasing shadows for just a few seconds here. He's trying to play this one sneaky, and he wants to help out some teammates, but you also don't want to give away that position.
Right, playing this slow. In the end, they give up camo, and intentionally they get that 4-1 lead, but playing the long game is JLINGZ. They will easily get those 2 kills back, now 4-2.
Look at the pings being sent out by Septiq as well, just trying to highlight all these players. 2 players are going to be on top. P, though, he gets the stick. Vital in that kind of scenario where it looks like you might have whiffed something that is going to cost you a -1 as a team, but at least he goes 1 for 1 there with the trade.
That situation is not the easiest. You might be tempted when you're down 3-1 and everyone's falling around you to just start shooting, to just start doing damage. Instead, once again, he slow plays that, keeps the game close. Here we are, tied 5-5.
Flooding on the pink side of the map here, JLINGZ. It's going to be TchiK with a double kill, though, and he says, I've got the flood barriers up. There will be no floods as he shuts things down. TchiK picking up important kills here as the game is swinging in the way of Quadrant.
And look at that from TchiK right there. Able to win that second battle there with the grenade. Also, he doesn't hop up on the fridge ledge, which was expected. The predicted nade goes into the fridge ledge, and he stays alive. They'll extend their lead by just a bit here, 10-6.
But this is such an important moment in the game here for Quadrant, right? You come out in these first few moments and you go down by a couple of kills, you start to think about losing the series. You start to think about don't get 3-0'd. All of these things flood to the front of your brain that maybe you weren't even thinking about before you got underway in this series. But now that they have a lead, all they're thinking of here, Andy, is getting this game on board, getting a win, tying up the series, and putting the pressure back onto JLINGZ.
They will get that first kill, and they do have a 5-kill lead. Picking up another one there, making it 14-8. Couldn't agree more. The next thing they need to do is just keep applying the pressure. So far, they've done it well.
Fragxr moves in to clean up that kill that was started down bottom middle. Fragxr now trying to patrol on the base, and all of JLINGZ you can see trapped on the pink side once more. SLG is going to pick up one, Shad a second. So this is looking like a bit of a spawn trap coming in here, and Quadrant have got that camo.
Back-to-back camos, and I think that probably marks 6 camos in a row or something across this series. This game, however, it is paying off for Quadrant, and they have shut down Septiq so far. He's only 3-3. We'll keep an eye on those stats as we go.
Shut down everyone at the moment. And Shad, whack, back smack. Picks up yet another kill, 21-11, a 10-kill deficit here, and wonderful shots from Shad as well as he makes it a double.
And this is becoming a nightmare scenario very quickly for JLINGZ. What was just a 13-8 game is 22-23-11, doubling the score of their opponents in this one and making very quick work of JLINGZ. It's a very different game number 2.
Certainly is, and the pressure being kept on here by Shad as well, who will survive. TchiK and Fragxr will move in to clean things up, and now he's moving over to help out TchiK once more on the pink side. Should be able to get the cleanup, does get the cleanup onto Qristola. And this one's looking like a mess for JLINGZ Esports. I don't know quite what's happened, but Quadrant finally seems to have found some form.
They have woken up. Look at their assists as well. Very nice assist category. Septiq doesn't know where he is. It's a killing spree for Shad, and he is chaining these thruster grabs, one after the other. He's just roaming around, picking up thrusts at the front of each base. He's had about 4 thrusts left for the past 2 minutes. Trade still coming in. It's 30-15. This is an absolute onslaught from the side of Quadrant.
JLINGZ is just getting collapsed on just so easily. Every single time we see a POV from Quadrant, it's 2 battle rifles located onto one JLINGZ Esports player. They're never going to survive that. Finally, numbers will go a little bit back in the favor of JLINGZ, but that trade keeps it pretty even across the board. 2-4 for Quadrant, 2-4 for JLINGZ, but make it 3 now as TchiK moves in and picks up an overkill.
Beautiful stuff here for TchiK and all of Quadrant, 34-17. And when you see overkills on the feed, that's going to give you even more momentum, even more excitement. I mean, this is an absolute bloodbath. Just steamrolling JLINGZ in game 2.
Shad, my word. God. Wouldn't surprise me to see him turn that one into a double as well, but I think, yeah, you're quite right. This has been a steamrolling so far in the game, and I just need to highlight again, how many overkills have we seen so far in the EU Super? It's been ridiculous.
I think you have the highest overkills per capita so far in this tournament compared to all...
We're proud of this in Europe.
All 8, what's that?
We're proud of this in Europe.
Yeah, you should be. This is amazing gameplay coming in from a lot of players with standout performances, big multi-kills, and probably some of the most multi-kills all up that we've seen as well in competitive Halo Infinite play. It's 39-21. This is the home stretch for Quadrant, and I say this in the best way about Quadrant, but this is probably one of the least eventful Slayers we've seen in the tournament, and they're very proud of that.
Yeah, outside of the overkill, and every single kill that's gone down, JLINGZ have had absolutely nothing to speak about in this game. It has been the white flag being waved, so to speak, and we will see this series tied up at 1-1, barring the most ridiculous comeback that would ever happen. And with the way that Quadrant are just putting the pressure on at the moment, it ain't gonna happen.
Absolutely not. We talked about how pivotal the game 2 was the first time these teams met. Keep in mind, JLINGZ won the first one, and they won the second Slayer as well, but it's very different here in their second meeting. It's 46-26, 4 kills to go for Quadrant.
Only thing here for JLINGZ to try and kind of rescue out this game is avoiding that steak dinner. They need 4 kills to do so, but Quadrant only need 4 kills to close this one out and tie up the series at 1-1. Morguhhh, you're toast. Qristola gets the trade. Septiq trying to do some damage onto TchiK, and Septiq will get 1. With just 2 kills to go here, Quadio should fall. SLG will help out Shad. It's 1 to go. The steak is ready.
Wow.
And I tell you what, early on a Sunday, steak may not be the choice for many, but I'm always getting stuck into a steak at any point in the day.
I was going to say some version of a Sunday roast being served here. You usually don't see. Steak dinners are reserved usually for pool play, maybe early bracket play. For anyone maybe just joining us here, not too familiar with the term steak dinner, of course, when you win a Slayer by 20 or more kills. That is what we had served up just now. And I would say medium rare, but that was actually very well done from Quadrant.
That was extremely well done.
Dominant performance from them. Here's a look at the stats. TchiK, 19-9. Hello, sir.
Yeah, on the other side of things, nothing to report, and understandably so, with a scoreline of 50-28. And I think, to be honest, with JLINGZ right now, they don't want to see Aquarius again for the entirety of this tournament. If they do manage to get through to the next stage of the elimination bracket. It has not been a happy hunting ground for them, but Quadrant, I mean, you get to Sunday, you need a confidence boost after losing that game number 1.
Yep.
that's the perfect response from them. And let me tell you, they're a momentum-based team. SLG will be getting a little bit hyped. And this man on your screen right now, TchiK, he's dragged them through some difficult situations so far this tournament. 19-9, he does it again. There's
that overkill on your screen. I'm sure we will see that a few more times before the day is over as he's heating up already in our first series. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from that game.
Well, it's going to be all from the POV of Quadrant because there wasn't too much to write about for JLINGZ. We will see that overkill pop up in a few moments' time as well. But again, TchiK is the light. And in the end of what has been a bit of a dark tunnel so far for Quadrant, every time they need someone to step up, he's been the man.
Also, let's talk about the camo control. Here's the triple. TchiK will fly in Dynamo side to get the overkill as well. That's the first one we've seen, perhaps of many today, if the past few days have been any indicator. But once again, Quadrant absolutely dominant there. The Spectacular medal does pop up. 50-28 is your final in game number 2. As we said, keep in mind the first time these two teams met, JLINGZ was able to take the first 2, which you could say was pivotal for their success. But it's a different story on Championship Sunday, where we'll be tied 1-1 heading into game number 3. As we said, CTF Bazaar, a storied battleground for the likes of JLINGZ. We'll have to see if they can have a different result compared to their Ascend series.
Yeah, game number 3 has a slightly different feel about it now after game number 1 did, as we headed into game 2, because that steak dinner is going to hurt JLINGZ, and they're going to have to brush that one off pretty quickly. They will have the opportunity to do so, of course, with Bazaar CTF and the way that it plays. You can kind of grow into the series, but the one thing that JLINGZ cannot afford here is a poor opening rush. I always talk about this on Bazaar, Andy. You lose the opening rush here, not only can it mean rockets, it can mean overshield going to your opponents, it can mean you're down by 1 on a map which is so difficult to cap on full stop.
Also, if you're on the side of JLINGZ, you need to look at the game clock, check your watch. There's a full 12 minutes on the clock here. Yesterday versus Ascend, we saw them play a great game for about 14 minutes, and they crumble in the end, then they crumble in OT. Let's see them play a full game, but I tell you what, Quadrant, a team that will not make it easy. All of a sudden, a lot of damage here going down early. Looks like an early grab of the overshield for JLINGZ.
JLINGZ should get overshield, but you saw Quadrant escape with the rockets. So a push is going to be difficult, as you saw that player who did get the rockets just rotating back to his bar. And I like this play, right? If you're giving up the overshield, you got to defend your base. The best way to do that, use the power weapon against the power-up.
Yep, Shad says, actually, I'm going to bring these goodies back home. You guys, I've got the rockets now in the bar. Come on over, swing on them for a drink. Also, if you have an overshield, feel free to pop in here as well. Flag is pulled early for JLINGZ. It'll be met by a rocket immediately, but traded out.
Fragxr gets a spawn there, which is going to be helpful for them to at least keep the pressure on. Qristola is going to be trying to apply pressure on the reverse side of things right now as Septiq moves in on the base. The flag is still out, and you can see that one player is still down for Quadrant. So there will be an opportunity here for Qristola just to throw this one out, and then it becomes a battle for the slays. If you get them on your side, there's an opportunity to either get that flag back to your base or maybe get the return, but there's a counter cap now coming in.
Septiq needs to stay alive, and he doesn't. That will be 2 dead, but one's a fresh spawner. This should be a Quadrant cap.
They need to get that return, though. Is there anyone there to do it? Yes, there is. The flag goes home, and the momentum of that last game rolls over here in the first few minutes. A perfect counter cap for Quadrant. They're up by 1-0.
The flag goes in before Quadios or Morguhhh can even get on the board with a kill. That's a great opening from Quadrant, and they're able to do it very efficient. You can simply tell by the numbers on the board. Septiq already with 5, Qristola with 3, but his teammates nothing to speak of yet.
One thing that I noticed yesterday with the way that JLINGZ play this, they're very good at part A, I would say, of the push, right? They get the 4 dead, they get into the base. It's the second part that they're a little bit stuttery on. They don't know if they want to, what they want to cut up, who's taking the responsibility of watching that overextension, which has come back to bite them a few times. Now's another opportunity for them to put that right.
That's right, of course. Several steps to a Bazaar CTF. Taking a look, 1 dead for each side.
Once again, you can see a little bit of indecision as Shad picked up that first kill. Looks like they're trying to bait a few players out here from Quadrant. Morguhhh's going to be playing that balcony. Shad's going to be the POV that we're watching, and Septiq picking up 1. Maybe they're going to look to get that touch now that Septiq has picked up the double. But there is a player still on that return. Can they get the touch? No, they can't. And again, just inefficient play coming in from JLINGZ Esports. They do have another flag moving, but that was a massive opportunity. Surely now with the overshield in their hands, they can force this one home.
Yeah, let's see. Morguhhh should be able to run this one. You did just see the final late grab coming in from Qris. A little bit of a fumble there, bottom middle. Needs to go now.
Needs to go now because his teammates are picking up kills. He could have got this one to double doors already, but again, they're stuttering. And Qristola has to take the flag off of Morguhhh. It's going to work out in the end. But again, I'm not convinced by the efficiency on these runs. But one thing that I am convinced of is the flag goes home, and it's tied up at 1-1.
They don't take the fast way home, but they do get the flag home in the end. It's 2 dead off of the cap as well, which will lead to Septiq's rocket grab. Now tied 1-1 here, and off of the first few moments of the game, you might not expected this scoreline, but JLINGZ able to play this one, maybe learn from yesterday's mistakes. And now with some control, the pre-rocket's not going to connect, but the cleanup will come in for Septiq. He's going to ping down on rocket side as well.
2v2 on the map. I'd like to see Septiq just throw this one out towards Treehouse and then take this battle. This is exactly what he's going to do. It's a big battle to win, and TchiK is going to stand tallest. Very important for both players, that battle. If it goes the way of TchiK, the flag stays at home and Quadrant can get map control. If JLINGZ and Septiq win that, there might have been an opportunity to get that flag mid-map.
Let me tell you, Septiq is on one this tournament. He's already 10-5 in this game. On the other side, no one has more than 6 kills. This man is amazing so far in this tournament. Keep an eye on that overshield, by the way. That comes up in 9 seconds as well.
TchiK's going to be moving down, maybe trying to pressure forward, and so is Qristola. So you're going to see a battle for mid-map here. Qristola's actually going to make the most of a very cheeky angle to allow Morguhhh now to push up. That's a selfless play from Qristola, which means an overshield, like you mentioned, goes into the hands of JLINGZ.
Morguhhh needs to make sure not to get green gunned here. He's going to get into tree right away. Looks like, oh boy, or back whacked. Shad had to have come in from bar, unless he went for a sneaky double door jump. Either one of those worked, and he gets the back whack on the overshield. You cannot let that happen on pushes like that. Or you also can't die to the last player alive, who was Fragxr. So Septiq with great aggression from bar, but Fragxr predicted that as the last player alive, gets into bar and shuts that down. So it's really been a great tug of war between these two, 7:20 on the clock.
Still trying to work out where Shad was. Was he crouched in the corner? Because I did not see him, and certainly Morguhhh didn't see him as well with that overshield. And that is such a heartbreaking thing to have happen to you when you get that over and you think, hey, we've got a push going on here, boys. Just to get shut down in that kind of way. Nice double kill, though, from Fragxr. He's going to open up the map once more as he looks to take another life to the grave with him. Septiq falls as well.
Especially when that might have been their first power-up of the day. To be honest here, we're in game number 3 between these two teams. Quadrant has been dominant in the power-up category. They finally get one, and he gets back-whacked immediately. Heads-up play by Shad to shut that down and keep the flag on the stand. 3 dead, though, for Quadrant. Shad, last player alive again, and over the the past few moments on set, it really has been JLINGZ getting 3 dead back-to-back-to-back.
Shad somehow narrowly manages to escape the damage coming in from the dynamo grenades. Not many players have managed to do that throughout Halo Infinite's lifespan so far. And good fire coming in from Shad as well to force the players back from JLINGZ, which allows his teammates to escape from that treehouse and get a little bit of ground to catch him up. Now, where are the respawns coming in here for JLINGZ? Because if they can get locations and if they can get battle rifles onto the bodies, then Quadrant might have a strong push on their hands.
Just listen in here because Shad's listening for footsteps. Let's see what he listens into here. Here's a few by the front door, but knows that no one's coming in from tree yet. You can tell just how slow he's playing that, listening for footsteps. Here's the overshield.
Now he makes his move. 4 dead for JLINGZ. Shad's going to hit this jump.
Oh boy.
As SLG is going to hit that grapple. Spawns are coming in on the rocket side as well, and with rockets in their hands, SLG might have a feast on his hands. There's 2! SLG looking for 3, but the damage might have been done as the flag is moving across the map.
Look at SLG. He also just nopes out of that. The overshield is there to collapse as well.
Look at Quad!
He's already across the way in the tree.
Quadios has somehow managed to overextend through all of that, though. Quad will be taken down. Quadrant managed to wrap back with that flag. TchiK gets it back to the base, but Qristola's there to slow things down. The overshield the difference, though, as Fragxr now has to hold the line.
Septiq's already in the front door. I don't think he has much up his sleeve here. Morguhh's the last player alive on the push. All of them are fresh spawners. That's a 1-by-1 push from JLINGZ. They tried to do what they could. It was not enough. The second flag will go in. And one category I have to point out at this point, Septiq was about 10-3 before anyone else was at the 7-kill mark. Guess what? He's 12-13 now, and the rest of the lobby has caught up. It was a great start, but he was not able to continue that performance.
And that efficiency from Quadrant on that run, it never looked like they were going to fail, right? They had the SLG double kill off the respawners with the rockets. They then had the overshield to wrap back and make sure that that flag was going to go home. And now the momentum is starting to roll the way of Quadrant. They have that flag out again. JLINGZ 3 dead. Septiq coming off of respawn, but he manages to pick up 1.
He's got the Bulldog. He can right now, maybe 1v2 in this scenario. It would be huge. Right now able to get the flag down. Gets the help on the last player alive as well. Big plays as the last player alive bottom mid from Septiq.
A huge play from Septiq, not only stopping the flag, but also just taking the attention away and staying alive, allowing his teammates to push up to send that flag home. If he doesn't make that play, and arguably if he doesn't have the Bulldog, then Quadrant could be up by 3 here.
Did you see how patient he was? He sat there just outside of the Dynamos, and he was not spotted out. They were looking for him bottom middle. They thought he wasn't there, and he stays alive just long enough for the help to come in. Finally, he will be taken down. That's 3 dead, but not before getting that stop. That means the game will stay within 1 flag with just under 4 minutes left to play.
There's a bit of chain damage coming in as well from Aquarius. He had that overshield to play with. He's got SLG in his sights as well. He's controlling this rocket side so well. There's another player trying to survive on the market, but unfortunately, Aquarius is not for sale at this point. He gets the beat down, but will be taken down. But Quadrant find themselves 3 dead. TchiK, the only player alive coming off respawn.
Septiq right now trying to pressure that. Knows the player might be bar. He is indeed bar. They will push in together with Qristola. They both need to stay alive, though. Surprisingly, actually, Qristola will fall immediately. A little bit of a confusion there. Grenades coming in, so they will have to reset a bit. What looked like it might have been an opportunity, a moment of advantage for JLINGZ is shut down off of the Quadrant respawns. They will have to try again now, 3 minutes left.
I feel like this is the biggest 3 minutes of JLINGZ tournament as a team so far. Since they've come together as a group of 4 players, they've got better and better. But this 3 minutes could be massive. Quadrant, like I mentioned, momentum team. They get hyped. They start to believe if they get good results on their side, it's when they're down you need to take advantage. And if they cannot take this game, or at least tie up and put the pressure back on, then Quadrant maybe going into that game number 4 feeling full of confidence.
Septiq getting the award there for longest time spent without shields. The patience there, even as the Dynamos are ticking and the BR shots it felt like they were coming through the pillar. He stays alive through the rocket grab, picks up a kill as well. Now they've got 2 dead. Once again, here's the opportunity, waits for the Dynamos, 2:29 on the clock. They need to go.
They need to go. Septiq trying to play very smart with these rockets as well. He's trying to be the back player, the anchor for the team, as that flag will be moving. Oh, I think he just got some really bad timing, but will double back and make sure that he picks up the kill. I thought for a second there that player was going to be able to sneak through. An interesting flag run here from Qristola, though. Deciding to run this one towards Septiq, but Fragxr will shut it down.
He was 2 dead there as they ran it. Fragxr gets the shutdown. Keep in mind, they had a grapple as well. Kills will be traded out. 2 dead for JLINGZ.
There's going to be a scrap going down here on the suicide of the map. Morguhhh's there to try and get the touch, but 2 players double up from Quadrant, and TchiK again will be in position to slow things down. 2-4 for JLINGZ, and now TchiK is inside of your bar with a Bulldog, not where you want a player to be when you're trying to chase the game.
It's just like you said, it was a very interesting decision. They thought they could get away with the bottom rocket run, but you cannot risk it if there's a chance of a return, because the return becomes too easy, and that's exactly what Quadrant gets. And they also get free grapples out of it, which TchiK uses to stay alive. 1:30 on the clock, JLINGZ running what could be again the game-tying flag.
Now, this is where I'm really interested in JLINGZ. This is where I want to see coordination. This is where the comms have to be precise, perfect. They cannot afford to mess this one up. Qristola gets a double kill. Septiq's got the cover with those grenades as well, being thrown and frazzling away at anyone coming off of respawn. TchiK is in position atop rockets, but he's the furthest player forward. And with around a minute or so left in the game, it looks like Qristola will run this one in, and it will be tied up at 2-2. The right decisions being made by JLINGZ. They convert the flag, questions answered, and now we have 50 seconds left to see if there's one more flag before overtime.
Incredible patience from JLINGZ. Once again, they knew exactly how much time was on the board. Qristola stays alive for the killing spree in his tree as well. They knew exactly how much time they had. They took all the time they had. Think about Septiq's patience with the rockets and Dynamos. 2 dead again. This one's not over. 33 seconds left. They could try to run another one.
They could try to run another one. They've got spawns coming in as well. Every single player from Quadrant was caught on a respawn there. Thrust is going to be picked up by Qristola as well. But where is the player furthest forward who might be able to get their hands on that flag? It looks like they're setting up here, JLINGZ, to try and pick up a second round of slays before they move in.
Yeah, we'll see. Not a lot of time to get the grab. Fragxr very wise to jump out. 3 kills, 4 go down. That should not be enough time for a pull unless we see an incredible grapple play. 5 seconds left on the clock. They're going to try to fly in. I don't think the time's there. We're going to sudden death overtime.
We are indeed. Nobody able to get that final pull in the last second or so. But inside the last 60 seconds or so, it was JLINGZ that got that tying flag. And maybe going into this overtime here, we'll be able to take that momentum forward. It's going to be, well, now is the time to employ every single bit of conversation and strategy that's been discussed in the last few minutes, as the teams have been waiting to get back into this game and back into the lobby. If you're just joining us, as a quick reminder, we are in sudden death here in game number 3. Bazaar capture the flag. Next flag will win the game.
Here we go, baby. This is what we came for here. Starting things off hot in series number 1. Sometimes you save this kind of excitement for the winners finals, the grand finals. and all the way through. But here we are in the elimination bracket. It is already getting hot and spicy. Next flag wins Quadrant versus JLINGZ.
Well, they're going to be risk takers. Or they're going to be those who maybe try and be a little bit of an insurance policy. What a grenade that was, by the way, from Septiq to pick up the first kill. Septiq will be taken down and exchanged, though, as two players do fall for Quadrant. Morguhhh trying to move in on that overshield. Aquarius and Qristola swiping through the market as well with a long flank, and that will be the overshield now going to JLINGZ.
Great stuff here once again. Ping's going down. That's going to be
everything.
3 dead. They've got all the goodies. Overshield avoiding getting green gun, checking both corners. A nade will come in on Morguhhh. He gets the green gun himself. They have rockets as well.
Look how scared all of Quadrant are as well. They're all stacked in the back of the base. If you get this information now, Morguhhh, tell your teammates to fly forward. Get those rockets in a position to do damage. This could be the game.
Absolutely could, but somehow 2 fall. Quadrant plays the slow game, and it pays off. The push does not come in from JLINGZ, and this is not easy. Look how long. Oh, what on earth is happening? It's a crumble from JLINGZ. Absolute shutdown. Now 3 dead on their side.
Cannot happen. That cannot happen. You will not get a better chance through the entirety of this game to get that flag on the board and to put a map win on the board and put yourself up 2-1 in the series. They had everything, Andy. And now they've got Shad inside of their base, running the flag, and JLINGZ, they could regret this one.
Slide does not come in for Shad, so he'll have to not go through. He would have been able to fly into the tree if he hit that curb slide. But instead, he gets taken down. Now, all that costing him, so they'll be traded out. 2 dead for Quadrant, 1 dead for JLINGZ, but couldn't agree more. JLINGZ had every piece of the puzzle, all of the tools in the chest, but they cannot convert early on.
And now we go back to that stalemate in the middle of the map. Aquarius trying to do the damage onto Fragxr up inside of the bar. Qristola picking up one onto Shad is going to allow some space, at least, for JLINGZ to move forward. Overshield going to be popping as the next power up in just a second or so, and you can see that Quad is going to be given the responsibility here to try and help out his teammates to pick that one up. SLG is 1 shot bottom middle. He's absolute, and Septiq will get the kill. Now Fragxr's going to be challenging, and Fragxr might have the timing on this one. Septiq's going to slide in, but won't be able to pop that overshield, as Shad will be the player who finally collects that overshield that's left on the floor.
It's a fadeaway with a thrust, and Septiq getting into some kind of tussle with a small wooden crate. Doesn't pay off in the end. They're now going to be pushing through the bar. Grenades will tap just a bit as that overshield very quickly runs down. Shad knows he needs to take advantage of the fact that he still has a little bit left, but even getting team shot in the back, that thing is going to all the way be tapped out.
I like this aggression, though. Unfortunately for him, his teammates have fallen. There is one player still alive on the thrust, I think, here, but he's got a teammate there to give him the assistance. It's TchiK, but Morguhhh, that is a vital, vital kill to slow things down. However, he gives his life away a little bit there. He tried to do some damage, and now all of the pressure to stop this flag falls onto the shoulders of Qristola, but there's Shad on the balcony causing all sorts of problems.
Oh, yeah, Qristola going down there is tough. Quadios is already across, but he looks like the only player in any position to do anything about this flag.
They have the rockets as well. They should be able to escort this one back. They've got it into the double doors. But here is Quadios, but there is TchiK. He gets the kill that he needs to. Morguhhh and Qristola flying through the treehouse. Fragxr needs to make the play, but instead, it's going to be TchiK and a teammate to get the final kills. And with that, Quadrant winning overtime. They will go up 2-1 in the series. And I said that JLINGZ might regret that opening and not taking advantage of it. You've just seen why.
You got to think, it's a little bit of deja vu for JLINGZ, and it's a deja vu of the worst kind. They will lose the flag once again to Quadrant by 1 flag in overtime. It's a story they're all too familiar with, and now they'll find themselves down in the series. The score of 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, all the credit in the world to Quadrant, by the way, for the way that they somehow managed to get out of that scenario they found themselves in.
Yep.
All dead off the rip, lose overshields,
yeah.
Lose rockets, you play slow in the back of the base, and you're kind of hoping you're going to get a pick or something go your way. And then they made that play, but JLINGZ, you can't expect to win games like that if you throw those opportunities away. Like
you said, I think it was a lack of communication because Morguhhh gets that first kill on the player on thrust. He immediately finds Fragxr on the back pillar, the right side pillar. As we take a look at some highlights from that from the entire game, all of Bazaar CTF, both regulation and overtime, but a little bit of a communication crumble, perhaps, with the way that Quadrant slow played that.
Just looked nervy. It looked like no one wanted to take the responsibility to be the player to fly, to get inside
I
the
think
base,
Morguhhh
to
tried,
get the information.
But other players either did not. Maybe there was a backwack that came in bar. We only had Morguhh's POV. At that point, here's the backwack, you're right. Shad was sitting right in that right corner, and Morguhhh did not check the right corner with that overshield.
Well,
maybe the difference maker.
Yeah, could have been the difference maker. This was SLG picking up that overextension and almost picking up a triple kill. on his way to Quadrant, finally converting that flag, which gave them the 2-1 lead. But with 60 seconds left in this game, JLINGZ showed heart, they showed spirit, and they did manage to get that flag back to tie things up and send us to overtime. But, I mean, Qristola, good decision-making in that final moment to get that flag home, and he had to make the perfect decisions, because otherwise it would have been the initial loss. But look at this. I mean, they get the first kill as well.
They get another. SLG kills Qristola. That's really the only one there. As that flag's going to run here. And here's that last run. Morguhhh does all the damage that he can, but it was really only up to Qristola, who's alone, essentially, on his opponent's flag. In the end, it's a score line that looks very similar in our game number 3. A 3-2 victory from Quadrant. They will now be one game away from eliminating JLINGZ and moving on in the bracket.
And they say revenge is a dish served best cold. I bet the word's in a different order, probably, somewhere in there, but you get my point is these two teams have matched up before. JLINGZ hyped, knocked Quadrant down to that elimination bracket, but now Quadrant are here to play on Sunday. And like I mentioned, you don't win anything on Friday or Saturday. It's all about how you perform on Sunday, having got here. And now Quadrant find themselves just one game away from getting through to that elimination final. And I've got to be honest with you, I think that if you're Ascend and Na'Vi and you're sat in that upper bracket at the moment, one team you probably don't want to face is Quadrant, because historically they've given both those teams problems.
Right, and I think the better the Quadrant, I should say the longer the Quadrant play, the better they get, especially on a championship Sunday. They've found their form after that game number 1. They're looking very different now, leading 2-1 in the series. Let's look back at the upper quarterfinals, though. We did have JLINGZ facing Quadrant once again in that time-based objective. It was a win on Streets Ball coming in for the side of JLINGZ. We now have a Recharge Ball, so if history repeats itself, we could be going to a game number 5.
It's going to be certainly very, very interesting. And if my memory serves me correctly, it was a Streets Ball game that certainly had some interesting rounds, right? The first one was extremely close between the two teams. But the second one, Quadrant absolutely dominated. They had a tram set up. It was like almost
100 to 10 or something.
Yeah, it was almost as good as you could possibly get and expect to get with teams of this kind of level. But the third round, big play from Qristola in those final moments to clutch up and rotate that ball away. So I'm not sure what to expect, to be honest with you. Recharge, obviously a different proposition to what we see on Streets, but certainly going to be a very competitive and close game.
Certainly. I think we looked at a lot of stalker rifle play being the key on that Streets game, and I think we could say the same thing, of course, even more so about the shock rifle here on Recharge. I expect both these teams to be fighting over it. Highly contested weapon. And I also think you have players like SLG, you have players like Septiq who are not afraid to take the extra peek shot with that shock rifle. They're going for flashy plays, but also if you hit them, high risk, high reward, they pay off.
I want to see SLG step up in this game as well. Yesterday he had the shock rifle a couple of times, and whenever we're watching SLG POV, you expect to see headshots, right? He was catching a few shoulders, catching a few chests, not quite getting the clean, perfect kill with that shock rifle in comparison to someone like Septiq. Maybe this is the time for him to step up and do so. Confidence high in the Quadrant camp after they managed to pick up that overtime win in Bazaar, capture the flag, but now is the chance to close things out and eliminate JLINGZ Esports from the EU Super. Quadrant up 2-1. JLINGZ looking to send us to a game 5.
Question is, what can the French squad do here? Can they close it out? You know, just like you said, after that game, they are saying here in the pregame comms, let's do it right here, right now. We are into game number 4.
Septiq POV has been a pleasure to watch so far. And Camo already in the hands of Morguhhh, so power up has been picked up by JLINGZ. Can he be eliminated and taken down though by Quadrant? That's the question. Morguhhh surviving for now.
2 dead for both sides. Surprisingly, you're going to actually see Fragxr try to get away with a grab here, and that grenade on batteries doesn't take him down finally. They take him down, so now they'll have a small man advantage for just a second. SLG, very nice plays from the double stack.
2 dead here for JLINGZ. It looks like it'll be 2 dead for Quadrant as well, as you see Qristola flying down to clean up SLG, and Quadrant trying to get a little bit scrappy here as 3 players do fall for JLINGZ. So they get that ball back, and this is the first setup we've seen is TchiK not only gives the boxer cuddle, but tries to give the boxing gloves to Qristola as he walks past.
Wow, TchiK stays alive through this as well. You got to be kidding me. That's huge. That score was going to continue racking up because they get 2 dead clean. Finally, SLG's taken off, but it's a really nice sneaky start here from TchiK.
Pressure's still on as well. You see the rotation. Look at this rotation coming in from Quadrant. They've got the ball all the way back to Elevator. They also have TchiK trying to kind of create the space for the rotation to continue as well. Instead, it's just going to continue slaying at the moment. 2 players do fall for Quadrant though, but look at the score. SLG going to be able to play this ball with 30 points already on the board. A great start here for Quadrant.
It's a great start for TchiK as well. He's 5-2. No one else in the game even passing the 3-kill mark yet. I think he could have done better on that last exchange, but regardless, going to be very happy with the amount of points that they did put on the board. Will be 30-0 here in our first round.
Morguhhh picks up one, which is going to allow at least JLINGZ a little bit of room to breathe here, to push across the map and focus their battle rifles onto the final players alive. Speaking of which, the last player who is going to be surviving here for Quadrant is going to be Fragxr, and Septiq's already spotted him out, but great shots from Fragxr mean that this rotation might not be as comfortable here for Qristola. Although he's got it back to pipes, you can see that there hasn't been a huge amount of time racked up already. He's going to have to drop and slay.
Should be a camo grab for Quadrant, if I'm not mistaken. There it is. Shad on your screen here. Perfect timing from our observers in the back. Nice shots in Whirlpool as well. 4 dead for JLINGZ. Camo still in hand.
SLG with the ball in hand as well. Shock rifle was up, so it'd be interesting to see if anyone from Quadrant did manage to get that. 2 players announce themselves to Shad, and once again, the camo just gets spotted out extremely importantly by JLINGZ Esports. And it's not the first time we've said that in this series, and with the way that those guys seem to be completely locked into the game, camo almost seems irrelevant for Quadrant.
TchiK is continuing to roll. He's 8-5 in this game, continues to lead the game across both teams, and they will very comfortably play the ball out. Just about at the 50-point mark. There's 2 dead, so actually SLG gets the call to fly right back into top yellow if he can. Doesn't get away with it, though. 3 dead.
TchiK last alive, trying to defend that ball. And it looks like the long haul spawns are coming in here, so JLINGZ have a great opportunity to hold the line, to rotate that ball, maybe back to elevator, or maybe try and push out that long haul and force the spawns back at A. Decisions have to be made here, and it looks like it might be the rotation towards A to clean things out. Morguhhh going to drop that ball for a few seconds and concentrate on those kills. As you can see, the first ones are going in the favor of Quadrant.
They are here, 2 dead already on both sides. Now Shad, last player alive. Morguhhh should be able to clean this one up outside. Has to work pretty hard to do it. Eventually he will go down. There's still 2 dead, but it still should mean a little more time for JLINGZ. They brought this game within 30. Nice little rotate.
Nice rotate, but again, not a huge amount of time being racked up here by JLINGZ, considering the kills that they just got, right? They tried to hold the same setup, allowed the elevator spawns to come in, and they were a little bit slow on recognizing where those spawns were going to come in. They didn't have kind of anywhere cleared out on the map to rotate that ball if a kill went against them. So that's why the score is how it is. The push was far too easy there for Quadrant to make, and now it's 57 points and rising to 24.
Yeah, messy in the end, certainly, from JLINGZ. You can tell there that they're isolating their battles. They're allowing the battles to be isolated into 1v1s, which is exactly what Quadrant wants. They're winning those 1v1s, and they're coming off of pushes when they really have a disadvantageous position. They also stop the burn on the camo. TchiK should pick this one up as well, and I think he's going to get a camo. As a reward, they're only 20 points away from closing out the round.
Camo, ball, setup, shock rifle, everything in the hands of Quadrant here, and you would expect them with all of these toys to be able to maybe close out round number 1. Fragxr's going to have some responsibility here, though. You can see that one player is going to be sliding in. He gets a bonk on the top of the head as Qristola is sent back into the respawn screen. But look at the rotation now coming out. They didn't get the play ball, though. So JLINGZ might be able to steal this ball away back to blue.
Yeah, they do, actually. They fly right in. They're going to go to control. The pressure comes immediately, though, from TchiK at control. That's a heads-up play. Septiq needs to stay alive.
It's a heads-up play, but at the same time, you can see that JLINGZ a little bit slow on recognizing that the ball was being rotated and they had to pick up tower. They get a little bit lucky by picking up the kills, and now Septiq should have the flank on these last 2 players. You can see where the last one is. Ball still in their hands, but Shad with a vital kill. If they clean him up, this might mean time for JLINGZ. They do manage to do so, and with just 9 points remaining here for Quadrant to close out round number 1, it's a full setup for JLINGZ.
Yeah, full setup, but no room for error here. You have to think if this setup gets broken once, even if the ball plays once, this could be over. The ball does play just as quickly as we say that. SLG in the back of the base, 3 dead for JLINGZ. You're probably going to see an immediate grab here. This could be the round. Toss it up to yellow. Beautiful toss off the play ball. That should be the round.
That should be the round, and I have to be honest with you, JLINGZ do not deserve to win the round after that setup and the way that it crumbled, because that was just flimsy to say the least. They get picked first. The push comes through, they're forced to play ball, and Quadrant are there, and as you say, that perfect throw up to top gold to close out the round now means not only have they closed that round out, Andy, but they're 1 round away from closing out this series. It's 2-1 right now. They are on the precipice of going through to that elimination final.
Also not the way you want to start. If you're on JLINGZ, it's a free camo grab for SLG. Didn't have to pay a dime for that one. They also get a kill, so they'll trade 1 for 1. It's another good start for the side of Quadrant, only 1 round away from winning this series.
Just want to see JLINGZ be a little bit more proactive. Difficult to do though when you've got SLG not missing shots. Here's another opportunity to do so. Takes down Morguhhh. Double kill for SLG. 4 dead here for JLINGZ. And the ball in the hands of Shad.
Tough way to start for JLINGZ, and they need to find the energy, and they need to find it right now, because this round could be over very quickly, and the game and their tournament can be over very quickly if they do not step it up and find the kills on the board. Get the opening damage to make these pushes count. 2 dead once again, though. Quadrant is not letting off the gas pedal, make it 3.
And look at where the difference about where Quadrant are picking up the kills on respawners, right? They're forcing themselves onto JLINGZ, and the kills are happening away from the Oddball carrier. They're not allowing the space for the players to move up. They are just suffocating them off spawn at the moment, Quadrant. They are playing some perfect Oddball here on Recharge, as TchiK once again picks up a double kill.
Oh my god, midship-esque battles there where he just happened to fire a few bursts and picks up a double kill there in long haul. Not something you see every day, but my god, this lead for Quadrant in this round looking as good as ever. They're now up 60-6.
But now Quadrant certainly outclassing their opponents here on Recharge Oddball. They have looked absolutely superb. The rotations have been there. The movement, the calls, and the pressure on the respawns, everything you could possibly want. And here's another example of it, Andy. The move all the way from pipes to tower to try and get that ball to blue. TchiK is going to pick up the ball, but now the flank coming in from JLINGZ.
SLG stays alive as long as he can. He'll be taken down in the end. It's only going to be Fragxr that's going to be alive here. He's actually alive on Old Grapple in Whirlpool. Septiq needs some help to finish, and they'll start to pick up a few kills. They get 1 dead. But man, do they ever have a long road to go if they want to get back in this game.
Can't afford to make mistakes now. Camo is certainly going to maybe help them a little bit pick up the slays they need to get that ball back to a setup. Fragxr should be spotted out here. Shock rifle in his hands. That is a vital kill from Morguhhh. If he gets taken down there with the camo and turns over the shock rifle.
That's tough for JLINGZ there. Morguhhh, just as you were saying, needed to stay alive with the camo. He rounds the corner because he thought about picking up the shock rifle. Gets punished immediately, so kills will be traded out 1 for 1, make it 2 for 1 in favor of Quadrant.
It's TchiK again. TchiK just appears out of nowhere sometimes, picks up 1, picks up doubles, and clears the way for his team. And look at the score, 67 points and rising. It's a pipes setup again with A control for Quadrant. So they have all the angles they need to put 20, 30 seconds on the board here. This could be it, unless JLINGZ can make a push and save this game.
Quadrant can't go Whirlpool there. Morguhh's dead, and there's no one else in position to shoot. Quadrant needs to wait a second, and maybe that sums up this entire game. Is JLINGZ really not waiting for each other on these pushes? They're often pushing in these 2-player scenarios.
Yes, 1 by 1, and it's just making it so easy for Quadrant just to pick up the kills, to get 2 BRs.
Same exact thing here. Quadrant dies Whirlpool again. It's not paying off. It's not working for them, and it looks like it's going to be too late.
Fragxr just having an easy time holding down pipes at the moment. His teammates holding the ball. SLG. Time ticking away. The series ticking away here as Quad is going to have to make a hero play. The ball is down, as that will be 4 dead now for Quadrant. JLINGZ need to make the most of this. They have the Oddball in their hands, but they cannot slip up here. It has to be perfect.
Can you imagine if this was the beginning of the JLINGZ redemption story in this series? They have a very, very tall order ahead of them. It needs to go 1 kill at a time, but they can bring this one back. They've got 3 minutes on the clock.
Fragxr, oh, what a kill that is from him to take down Qristola. Morguhhh there, however, to close that kill down. There's Shad. Perfect kills from him and the camouflage. Where is the Oddball? It's in the hands of Quadrant. They only need 6 points here. TchiK has got everything clear in front of him, apart from 1 player who flies through, but it's not going to be enough. And Quadrant, maybe today is the start of the redemption arc for them. They will move through to your elimination bracket finals with a 3-1 victory.
JLINGZ there with a hot start in the series, but they will be outclassed, as you say, by Quadrant in the end. And I think that's the fear that a lot of teams in Europe have, is when you let Quadrant get started, they start to get the momentum, they start to steamroll, and it's looking like what could be a good championship Sunday for them. They will close out the series 3-1 in the end.
Yeah, and completely deserved. The way they played that Recharge Oddball was, you know, textbook. Every single decision they made, every single rotation they made, it was almost as if they were kind of always thinking 1 step ahead.
Yeah.
We've got this pipe set up. What happens when a kill happens here? What happens when a death happens here? How are we trying to move that Oddball and kind of manipulate the map, right, to make sure we're getting the most out of that time? We'll see the stats here, Andy. TchiK, once again, Wes highlighted him on the desk, understandably so. 19 kills for TchiK.
Absolutely. It's been popping off all day. Not surprising to see Shad also high up on that category. 17 kills for him. 6K club belongs to TchiK, though, the only player to hit 6,000 damage.